The Bible is for
If anybody out there is playing the New York Times games and has an in with the person who decides the connection's colors, I'd like a few words.
That's a different game. A few words.
Yeah, I have so many thoughts. I have thoughts every day on it, and today was no different. I thought there could be two that were the purple one, and I did not guess the right one.
I thought today's purple one was easy.
Actually, when I figured out what the other one was, I was like, oh, that was definitely purple. But I found the first one first and was like, oh, that's purple.
I know, that sometimes happens. I don't know that anybody else, like you and I think are the only ones I know that play that game.
I was at a restaurant, and there was we were on vacation, and there was a family, and they were all on their phones, and it was just your classic, like, Toy Story 5 tried to warn. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And then they started talking and like reacting, and they were all doing connections, and they were talking about it. And I was like, it's kind of a group game then at that point. And I wanted to, and I was like, how weird would it be if I weighed in from this other table of like, oh yeah, I thought that too. And I didn't have anything to add.
I wonder if they know about the reverse rainbow.
I didn't at that point. It wasn't until you introduced it. I didn't have anything helpful to add to their conversation. And you know how when I don't have something really astute, I'm so
you keep your mouth shut.
People are just like, he's so shy.
Yeah, was he even here?
Like,
didn't even notice. How stoic of him.
Mysterious. That's what I get all the time. Welcome to the podcast, everybody. My name is Anthony. That's Tim.
Hey.
We're back. We're here. We're in person.
Feels like we never left.
We do several podcasts across the oceans.
I know. I was a long ways away. It's good to be back in the same room with you.
We're here. We're now together.
Good to see your pretty face.
Studio space, which was tidied from the last time you were here.
Yeah.
You noticed. Everything that people can't see was tidied.
I will say what was jarring is that, you posted a video of ours from a long time ago that was about this segment that we're going to do today.
Yeah.
And I looked at my face and was like, dang, you look young. You look like a kid. Look at all that hair. And then I saw yours and I was like, oh my, who is that? That's not Anthony.
I definitely looked boyish, but I also was saying to
But you looked older too.
I know. I was, what is that?
Benjamin Button.
No, your movie you love with McConaughey. Interstellar. I was like I was stuck in the walls going, Anthony, buzz your head. You're bald. You haven't accepted it yet. You need to just take that down.
I don't know I don't know that that's my movie.
I thought you love Interstellar.
I think it was good.
You don't love Interstellar. Are you Tim Wyckoff?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're thinking of Inception.
You love Inception. You don't love Interstellar.
Yeah. I think it was good. I don't remember much from it. I think you're just confusing me with somebody else.
I have to take back your Christmas present now.
Okay, do it.
I had it logged in my brain that you really liked Interstellar.
Maybe. I don't.
You know what I think happened? I think I was saying something about how I thought Interstellar got a little confusing and you defended it.
Oh.
I think that's where I logged.
I don't usually defend things. I typically attack. Unless
I attack, in which case you defend.
Vehemently.
Yeah. Always bringing a balance to things. Again, welcome to the podcast. This is a segment we are now several episodes into, and I love, and I think the people are loving it too, called The Church is Funny, where we collect your stories and you send them in. And what's so fun is every time you do send them in, and you send in great ones. I am so proud of our community and the way that we've responded to this new segment. So today we're talking about prayer stories. But before we get into that, we have something to celebrate today, Tim.
Well, bring it on, Ant.
And that's because here at the Bible is Funny podcast, we have a new partner to welcome in. Our partners from the Healing Collective. I'm going to say right now, and we didn't discuss terms of this particular segment is presented by the Healing Collective because it's such a good fit. We said when we started this segment that there's all kinds of stories that come out of church. I grew up in church. Tim grew up in church. We have so many stories, and you're sharing the stories, and that's the beauty of this segment is we get to laugh at them. But they're not all funny stories, Tim, believe it or not.
I do know this.
Some of the stories are harmful. Some people have experienced trauma in the church setting or from a faith leader or something like that. And we knew that when we started this, but this partnership is so cool for this reason because our friends at the Healing Collective are very intentional, and the whole purpose of their organization is to create a healing space and environment for people that have had trauma in their past and to inform leaders with trauma-informed direction and that type of thing so that they can do a better job of navigating the space. So super exciting partner to welcome on the Healing Collective.
That's correct. If you don't know about them, go check them out. Their link will be in the show notes. I think that's what we say.
That's right.
They offer individual and group spiritual direction. They have learning cohorts. They have workshops. They offer coaching and retreats. So if you're interested, the one thing that's coming up right away is the Center for Spiritual Formation. It offers a trauma-informed spiritual direction certification program. It's a lot of words.
A lot of shins.
For a lot of shins, for a lot of people who don't do words in the reading too good. But yeah, for those seeking to companion others in their processing and discernment. So if you know about spiritual direction, you know what it is, you've heard of it before, or if you know somebody who's interested in it, either as like a personal interest or maybe part of your job, your vocation, if you're a pastor or spiritual leader, whatever, religious leader, check them out. And they offer a spiritual direction certification program. First cohort for this year starts August 21st. So go check it out. It's coming up real quick.
Gotta get signed up because it's coming up.
Get on the internet and go check it out.
This is very fun. I love this partnership. I'm super excited about it. If you've heard us say one thing over and over again, it's that Tim and I don't know what we're talking about. And if that's news to you, I'm going to let that sink in for a second. We don't know what we're talking about. We barely know what we're talking about when it comes to movies, let alone anything of any importance.
No.
But you could be someone who does know what they're talking about. And the Healing Collective wants to help you do that. And you're probably thinking to yourself, Anthony and Tim, why don't you do that? Because then you could be helpful and actually contribute to conversations. And I would say, mind your business. We're lazy. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, speaking of churches.
Oh, yeah?
I met a guy. I got a new friend now.
What the heck?
His name's, I know, not
what the heck?
Not the same. I can make new friends.
You watch Interstellar with him, probably.
I would. His name is Coleman. Coleman ran into me in the middle of Georgia. I was eating dinner with my family.
Yeah.
Coleman comes up to me. He says, "Hey, are you Tim?" And I said, "What's it to you, pal?" And so we started to fight. And I hit him, and then he hit me back, and we wrestled. And he was like, "I've seen your podcast," and we're punching each other.
Oh my gosh!
He was super cool. So shout out to Coleman. I did not actually fight Coleman. He was a very fun individual. He's a pastor, becoming youth pastor at his church up there. And
shout out,
he recognized me from the podcast, and he was real cool, and was like, "Hey, I don't want to interrupt," which was very kind. But I was like, he's like, "I don't want to interrupt you with your family," and I said, "That's okay. I've been with my family for a long time this summer. They're not missing anything." So we chatted. But he said, "Hey, I didn't want to do that. We felt nervous."
Yeah.
I said, "No, do this, do that. So if you see us out in public, say hi, because otherwise we're just talking to a couple of cameras and some bots that are online chatting back to us. So say hi, say that you listen, tell us you hate the podcast. That's fine. But just any sort of acknowledgement. We've done a lot of live shows for like 100 years.
Yeah.
Thousands of people we've seen in real person. They boo at us. They laugh at us. We get that feedback. Feedback is great. Yeah. We don't always get that here. So, come say hi. We're not scary.
Yeah, just like Coleman did. Coleman really set the bar high.
Coleman, thanks, bud.
This one's for you, man. This one's for you. All right, so we asked you to tell us your funny stories in and around prayer. Prayer was the prompt, the theme for this episode. Mm-hmm. There's so many things when you're a part of the church world. You get people praying on stage.
Oh man.
You get little prayer request times that people are sharing. You get certainly kids learning how to pray. There's a lot that goes on with prayer. We've actually, when we were doing more like sketches, we have actually done 4 different videos around the idea of prayer, which I thought was funny. We did the prayer request one that I shared. We did God and Terry, which is another one of my favorites, where the guy says God over and over again.
My favorite of all time.
Responds every single time that his name is called. And then we did the transition prayer, which I had forgotten about, which also made me giggle looking back at that. A worship leader who doesn't really make sense while they're talking. So it's a funny subject, and I'm glad everyone participated the way they did, because we got some really good stories.
Yeah, I was gonna say why I love this this whole segment is because it just makes me remember all the things that all the good fun things that happen, and like funny things. And I know there are people like, you know who you are. I can't sit next to you when people are praying or when something serious is going on, Angela Ray. I can't. I'm not allowed to, because we giggle, we laugh too much, and it's like those particular moments that they make me laugh, and but there's so much stuff that happens with prayer, and you're not supposed to make fun of it.
No.
It's sacred.
Well, we're not here to make fun of it.
But also, no, we're not.
We're here to just share stories.
Consume and discuss. Is that? No, that's the other segment.
So many good things. If you didn't grow up in church, let me just give you a couple little spices too. And none of these actually came up, but
wait, bow your head, close your eyes.
If you're in a youth group, you would you would like hold hands during prayer, and that was always a big deal if you were standing in the right spot. And then all of a sudden,
my hands are sweaty already.
I know there's a lot of prayer stuff going on. Let's just jump into it. I came up with a new format for this segment that I'm surprising you with right now.
Thanks for telling me.
It's really just a logistics issue where I am collecting all the stories. You guys are seriously killing it with sending in the stories. I'm going to take our top 10. This is now going to become a top 10 stories we received on the prompt. And that's what we're going to start with. And because I never follow my own rules, I have an honorable mention that I'm going to start with, which will make it 11. But I'm going to start with this one because it's my story. My wife Rach sent it in. She did the right thing, but I had already noted it because I was like, I gotta tell this story. We pray with our kids at night. It's like our last thing we do at night. And one day we're sitting there and make sure I get our details right. Okay, yeah, this was when Finn was 6, our youngest, and he says, "We're doing prayers at night again. All right, guys, close your eyes. Let's pray." He says, "Can we pray for Noah? Can we pray for my classmate Noah?" I was like, "Oh yeah, of course." Sort of shoot at Rachel like, "Oh no, it's okay. We make a casserole. What's going on?" And yeah, buddy, what is there something going on with Noah that we can pray for? And Finn goes, "No, just at church today they told us to pray for our enemies." And I was like, "Oh, okay." No further comment. Just. That's what they said at church.
Yeah, I just hate the guy.
I'd like to specifically name Noah when it comes to praying for my enemies.
Good for him.
Speaking of not getting through a prayer because you're giggling, right? I was like, how do I also do this?
I also want to know what someone has to do to become Finn's enemy. The nicest kid that's ever lived.
Tough.
You got to do something bad, which is probably what his brother would do. I thought you were going to talk about a personal story. I thought it was going to be when you were, because weren't you doing prayer time with Crosby? And then he was like, "What about the man in the wall?" Or whatever, when he was on melatonin and was seeing stuff in the wall.
He was on some sort of one of those natural cough syrup things. And he did start, I think he wanted us to pray for the man in the wall, or maybe he was inviting the man in the wall to join the prayer. Yeah. It was a not great moment in the house.
But I like the story because I think it's funny because I didn't have to be there.
Yeah. Nighttime prayer time, man. It's its own animal. But that was a real story. Shouts out to Finn. It was one of my favorites. So to pray for my enemies. All right, now we're going to go on to submitted stories.
I was going to say, this isn't all about you, Ant.
I know. This is going to start with Brother Joel. This is a short one, but I love it. I stepped out of my row to go to the bathroom during the service, and I high-fived the lady as I walked towards the back. Turns out her hands were up because she was deep in prayer. And it's a very short telling of the story, but it leads me to think that it wasn't a prayer time. She just was kind of having a moment. Yeah. And had a hand up. And he was like, my guy.
Why not? seize the opportunity. Because, I mean, honestly, the worst thing that could happen for her is if she was reaching up for a high five and you left her hanging. So, Joel, you did the right thing, bud.
There's a lot of that goes into prayer that are like people do it different ways, and you never know. At least maybe this is just for me. I don't want to put this on everybody necessarily, but I'm like, should I match? Like, should I match energy? Am I allowed to do it my way? Like, I don't know if you've ever had this. You'll be like, somebody will get like on their knees at their chair or something and pray.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, or like in a group setting. I've worked in churches and different things, and that's just the way people do it. And I'm like, that's fine. I feel like a jerk kind of for not doing it, though, because you did it. And now I'm like, should I be doing that? I don't typically do that. I guess I could do that. The hand holding's another one where you're at your friend's house for dinner or whatever. Hey, and you're like, hey, so we're going to pray for dinner and everyone hold hands. And you're like, oh, not when you do participate in.
Well, you have to,
yeah.
yeah.
You're a jerk.
Yeah.
So there's a
but
lot.
Public prayer time. Like I don't want to follow the social norms of like, I get real weird. Armpits are sweaty. I don't want it. Like, dude, just be chill. Everybody do their own thing. I don't like it.
Yeah. Thank you, Brother Joel, for being vulnerable and telling us that story.
High five.
Sister Emily says, one summer we had a young college-age man who was interning at our church, and he was doing the announcements or something during the service, and his instruction was to call on somebody to pray. He didn't know that he was supposed to call on somebody who was like kind of pre-assigned and agreed to pray in the service, and he called on a man that had definitely not agreed to it. And there was a very long pause before the man said, well, God, I've never done this before. The rest of his prayer was super sweet, and honestly, it was like a very sincere prayer, and he was a good sport about it, so it turned out fine. But it was one of the funniest things that's ever happened in a service.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the sweetness of it. Oh my gosh.
Another thing that happens if you've been in the situation where, hey, somebody want to pray to close us out, and you're just, everybody, like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then they have to call on somebody. And typically you've got one of two people in your group that like
experienced
like,
church prayers.
But if you get called on to do a prayer, it's tough.
Yeah, some of those folks like have one in their back pocket. Like, all right.
Yeah.
Heavenly Father God.
Yeah, you just fire it off. I'll tell you another one we didn't get a story on, but it's a real experience for me, is when you've done the prayer request time before and you weren't really paying attention. And then... or like you checked out at some point.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, I don't have to log this. Maybe it'll go out in a group text afterward. So there's like all this stuff going on. And then they're like, hey, Tim, why don't you go ahead and lift all those up? And you're like,
I have such a crappy memory, without like that kind of I don't have to nod off. I just have to be myself, and I will not remember the thing.
It's hard to remember.
So yeah, there was a lot of whenever that, cause I feel like that happened in middle school. A little bit more. I don't know why you're put of all the times when you're the most awkward in your life and someone tells a middle school kid, hey, won't you pray to God in front of your friends about all their trauma that they just brought up, including the unspokens and spoken ones.
They didn't bring up.
And then you have to like remember each one and not be too weird and not giggle about it because you're already laughing about what Bill said. Is like, such a weird time in life to do that to a middle school.
It's tough to be called on to pray when you're not expected.
Yeah.
And that's what Sister Emily
experienced. I do love that story. That's a really good one.
This is Sister Olivia. I thought you'd like this one. I was a missionary in Brazil for 3.5 years. Shouts out. We were doing small group one day with a mother and her adult son. The mom had a pretty nasty cold, and we wanted to pray for her at the end. My teammate started to pray in Portuguese, but he mixed up the word for sneeze, espirrar, with the word for breathe, Hespihar. So instead of praying that she would stop sneezing, he prayed that she would stop breathing. Like a good teammate, I burst out laughing, and thankfully the mom and son thought it was funny too. Long story short, that's one prayer we were glad the Lord did not answer.
There you go. That's good. Oh my gosh, that's really good.
That's
and maybe, but honestly, when you're sick, when you're that sick, sometimes you're like, I do wish God would kill me. I don't want to breathe anymore.
Take me away.
Just finish me off. I can't stop sneezing.
Yeah.
Just cut it off at the source.
Yeah.
At the breathing, please.
I'm wondering if you are the mom in that situation and you're hearing that prayer. There's a moment where you're questioning all the intentions. You know, I asked somebody to pray for me. I guess I should have been more specific.
Right.
I thought we were on the same page.
I mean,
you went a different direction.
be specific. This is what they taught us back in the day. I want to pray for my friend. Oh, what about him?
And that's a good note. If you're going to ask somebody to pray for you, be specific about the desired outcome. Like, hey, could you pray for this test I got coming up? I'd like to get a good grade on it, to be specific. I don't want to just...
A minus.
A minus.
If it's A plus, they're going to think I cheated.
No way.
I can't go through that
I
paperwork
wouldn't
again.
believe it if I got an A plus. Let's go to Sister Taryn. When I was in college, speaking of tests, here we go. When I was in college in the early 2000s, I felt really unprepared for a history test. Like one of those, I keep reading the book, but nothing is sticking kind of moments.
Been there.
I drove to school nervous and unhappy, so I prayed that my professor was sick. He'd left the sign and note on the door for being sick a few times that semester already. I go to class, no note on the door, but professor walked in, looked over the class, put a hand to his throat and said, "I'm so sorry, class. I'm really sick and I lost my voice. So I just hand these tests out and stop talking." Again, be specific with your prayers.
Yeah.
Because God's like, you said sick. That's what I did.
I did the thing.
He's sick. Why are you mad at me? That's what God's saying.
That's project management 101. Communicate.
You gotta be specific. We actually have another one about specificity.
Right. You like be sick enough to not sick enough that they die right away. I mean, eventually everyone does.
Right.
But sick enough to not show up to work, and also maybe so sick that they can't write a note. They can't. We can't. I want to get out of the test. Okay.
Yeah. You got to be focused on your real issue, which is the test.
Right.
You were focused on the professor.
Yeah.
It's actually the administrator of the test.
Yeah.
It's not your issue.
Yeah.
The test is the issue.
Mm-hmm. Don't be vague.
Really think about these prayers before they go.
That's what we do for our vision boards at home too.
Really like this one from Sister Nancy. Wednesday night youth group. Our youth leader prays, and Lord, just let us hear you tonight. At the exact moment, his newborn baby in the back of the room audibly filled his diaper. The parent volunteers sitting in the back of the room could not contain their laughter.
Here's your joyful noise.
I said, the spirit moved and the bowels moved at the same time. God, we just want to hear from you tonight.
Oh, man. I love that.
It's great timing.
Yeah, I love that. It's
timing.
This is God's sense of humor.
This is what I love about, honestly, the when a church is good, it's so good because you have all these things happening. You have the baby filling the diaper while you're trying to be serious. Chef's kiss. This is what it's supposed to be about. Okay.
And I'm not here to get like too deep into philosophical or spiritual things.
No.
But like for real, growing up in church and always kind of being told, no, this isn't a place for funny. You don't see funny things happening in front of you might at the craziest, most wild moments, you might see an artist get up on stage and paint during the sermon. And then they flip it upside down. And it's the same painting they did 75 times prior in other services, and that's cool. Anyway, it's not music, it's not drama, it's painting. Okay, but humor, comedy, there was no place for it.
Right.
Oftentimes, and I would sit there in moments like that, and because similar things have happened. You get a baby crying at the most terrible time for the sermon or whatever, and it's like, no, objectively this is funny and it's happening in church, and I feel like God has ordained this. So is this not okay?
I know
that we can do something funny now. Please let's go make a funny illustration, not like the lead pastor trying to be funny.
Right.
That's
right.
Actually, not. It's like a magician trying to be funny. We get it. You're trying. Good for you.
In some senses, and I'm not ready to take this argument like to the mattresses, but in some senses, you're like, somebody in church is going to go, how does Moses make his coffee? He brews it. And you're like, no, God's better at humor. Watch this. You ask God to speak to you, and a baby audibly fills a diaper. Uh-huh. And God just goes, cue baby.
And action.
Perfect. This is another really good one from Brother Harmon. It was common for people at our church to pray that God keep us from harm and danger. As a child, too many of my peers understood it as harm and danger, as if I was the problem. And I had a pretty cool nickname for a few years. Brother Harmon Danger.
Harmon Danger.
I like that.
If that's not your Instagram handle right now, Fix it.
He showed up, sunglasses, toothpick, a couple buttons undone.
Danger's my
I'm Harmon Danger.
last name.
Used to be Harmon Peterson. Not anymore.
I dig that.
Now I'm Harmon Danger.
I would 100% go by Harmon Danger.
Yeah. Harmon Danger is a good name for a church renegade. Like he does the evangelism trips, but he does his own script. He doesn't follow the wordless book.
He definitely brings his sword of the spirit, but he doesn't carry it in its sheath.
Sister Jess sends, I used to work 12 weekends per year helping with a camp in the mountains for foster kids. Very cool, Sister Jess. Shouts out. On Sundays, we would go...
Hold on.
Go ahead.
A camp in the mountains for foster kids.
Yeah.
So, like, they don't have a connection. You know, they've had a traumatic history of being connected with the family. So we take them away from the families that they've been fostered to, and they put them in the woods somewhere.
I don't want to get into, like...
I just didn't know if she clarified on there.
Could be a foster group home they're going from. A lot of options here.
Okay, all right. I just want to check.
On Sundays, we'd go to a little mountain church that would feed all of the campers breakfast before service. One December Sunday, during the prayer request time of the service, a regular congregation member said to pray for a homeless family he saw just outside of the church. This was in the mountains far from town, so homeless people up there are like very destitute and have no resources if they can't hitchhike all the way down the mountain. It's very true. So I usually high population of homeless people in a metro area because there's more resources to help them. He said the homeless couple had just had a baby, and even worse, their temporary shelter had recently collapsed. Well, at this point, all the campers, all the workers are really disturbed, and they're like, we're ready to help. We're trying to go into action. So they go outside, only to realize he was talking about the nativity scene in front of the church, and the stable structure had tipped over in the wind. I love that, though. They were going to help Mary and Joseph, you know?
Yeah.
It's the right response.
With the new baby. Them. Yeah, I get it. I mean, it wasn't even his kid.
He wasn't a stepdad. He was the dad who stepped up. Let's go to Sister Victoria. This was a great bunch of stories. I feel like I'm saying it before every story, but truly it's because I loved them all. Sister Victoria says, I like horror movies, and a podcast I listened to covered I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And there's a scene where one character busts in on an unsuspecting character who jumps up and says, what the hell? But with a thick southern drawl that made the podcasters laugh. My husband is a canine officer, and I begin my prayers for him with the Lord's Prayer and a Hail Mary. One day, I was interrupted with a crashing sound outside, so my prayer that morning sounded like, Hail, what the hell?
That's great.
I want to say that I've had a thought for a long time. I've never had a place to like share it on a microphone, so I'm thankful for this opportunity. There's a song that was very, very popular. I don't know if it still is as popular, but the song was All Hail King Jesus, and that was like a worship song.
All hail.
And every time I heard it, that's what I would think, and that's bad. That's why people don't like to sit next to me during worship time, probably. But like, yeah, this exact story is what I would think.
There are so many reasons I like to sit next to you in church singing time. I want that experience to happen when there's a crazy thunderstorm, and she goes, "Hail! Oh, hail! Hail!
Hail!" It's three different, yeah. That's maybe in Sister Victoria's future. She might experience that.
Fingers crossed. Thing. Victoria, get back to us.
Let's go to Sister Nicole. We got 2 more stories in our top 10 prayer stories that we received.
11.
Sister Nicole says, I'm a kid's pastor, and we had one boy who's a younger sibling and offered a prayer request for his sister in the same church group, who he named. And he asked if we would pray for her because she was sick and her stomach was hurting. And she was just having really bad diarrhea all the time. At this point, I jumped in and I cut him off. And I said, why don't we just say that we'll pray for your sister's tummy? And I love all the aspects of this story. Like, it's so true. It's so real. I don't have a reason. Maybe Sister Nicole can reach out and clarify. We're always open for that. But it seems like it's being presented like he was worried about her. But then he was just oversharing the details.
Yeah, that's what little brothers do. I myself am a little brother to two sisters. And I would mess with her all the time. I would that's a great way to get kind of a weird dig in, or like a way to embarrass your sister. Yeah. When she's not in the room, you can talk about all the diarrhea she's having, all she wants. But then you're like, wait, but no, it's just being specific. You told me to pray specifically. I wanted God to heal the crazy amounts of colorful diarrhea that she's been having that's been just ruining her clothes, all of her clothes. And the smell that she's just been carrying on her body for a week now. Because, I mean, it's my sister. I love her.
And I'm
dearly.
worried.
And then, you've seen her face. God, can you fix that too?
They're like, well, all right, we're going to cut you off. And you're like, are you asking me to cease? Are you asking me to pray with ceasing? Because
wait 1 second.
If I remember a couple weeks ago, we talked about something. Yeah, definitely an opportunity. I've definitely been in rooms where there's shade being thrown, being via prayer requests.
Sibling rivalry does not stop in the prayer circle.
And adults
that's how strong it is
as well. I want to be clear that this has happened many times where like we all know your neighbor. And you're like, I just want to pray for Barbara and Dave. Something seems to be going on, and that's all I'm going to say. And you're like, all right.
I mean, you know my brother-in-law. He would do the same thing for his sister right now.
Right now.
Today.
Yeah.
He's 40-something years old. He would absolutely embarrass her in a prayer time in front of a church.
I've seen it done,
and I respect that.
You can be the specific one. I've seen it done too, where there's just seeds being planted of like, just pray for Sean. And he's just got a lot going on right now. And you're like, oh, say it or don't say it. Like it's
in middle school, I'd be like, can you pray for my sister? I'm pretty sure she's not pregnant, so. And then
you're
church culture,
and you go, I said I was sure she wasn't.
I said she's not. It's fine.
Her stomach was hurting. Every time in a movie, that means one thing. We're gonna end with Brother Micah. I thought you'd appreciate this story. I liked Micah going into detail on this. True story. I'm in my deer stand hunting. Me. God, please let me see a deer. And a little yearling walks by.
So I shot it in the face.
Micah says, God, please let me see a deer that isn't a baby. And a doe walks by in the distance. Micah is kind of picking up what God's putting down. Okay, God, I see what's going on here. That was a good one. Lord, please bring a buck into range. Not way out there, in range. A moment later, a tiny 4-point buck strolls right past my stand. Micah says, all right, look, God, please bring me like a real buck. Like an actual, decent, mature buck in range. Doesn't have to be huge, not a world record, just like a decent buck. Not some little dweeb, not one out in the neighbor's field, just one decent buck in range. Micah's words, not mine. That's when God must have lost his patience and said, did I not do exactly as you said? There's no pleasing this guy. You're on your own. I didn't see a deer the rest of the day. And the realness of that story, so I was like, this is Micah lived this experience and logged it. And I love that from him.
Yeah. Not in a church setting, but I'll give it a pass. That's great.
No, just a prayer.
Just prayer time.
In Micah's defense, it was prayer oriented.
No, it's fine. I can relate to all my time at a deer stand. Yeah, and that is unfortunately is very true. And that prayer never worked for me, Micah. So congratulations, you have some sort of connection to God. I literally would get no deer whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I'm mad at God for that to this day. So thanks for bringing that up.
I think there is something about if you grew up in, at least I would say, I think a lot of the people that grew up in our generation and growing up in church the way we did, we've all done the little test God prayer.
Oh, yeah.
Of like, okay, God, if you can hear me right now, do a thing, and you ask for like a specific thing.
I prayed, I think literally every time I went to the pool, if I could walk on water, and I couldn't do it. I was like, dang it. All right. So I get back out and be like, all right, my faith wasn't strong enough. And I'd get back and I'd try to walk on the water again. And I'd be like, oh, dang it didn't work. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Peter looked at Jesus, and when he took his eyes off Jesus, that's when he fell in the water. So I'm like looking up, all right, where would time of day, the sun is high, noon, and I think Jesus is just waking up. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to look to the Okay, Jesus, and I'd start my walking and just fall in. I was like, this sucks. I'm not walking on any kind of water. To this day, have not been able to walk on water.
And then somebody would throw one of those dive sticks and you'd be like, gotta get it. I'm so glad I'm not stuck on the top of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely had, I've done it for the parking spot situation. I've thrown out the this is a practical right now thing. I also have tried to move things with my mind a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Just to see. Because my thought is always like, how will you know if you don't try?
Right? I mean, luckily
somebody can do it and they're not trying.
Luckily, I knew how to swim, so that's where I knew I had a backup plan.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I didn't have enough faith, because if I would have.
I think we were all thinking it. But you said it.
All right, I'm going to go back and try it again.
One more try.
I'm going to forget how to swim.
Tonight. We'll try it. Tonight we'll try.
I'll tie my hands together and my feet together. I'll do something to make sure I die if I don't
I think
walk
now you're
on
doing
top of the water.
as a magic trick. Now you're in a straitjacket. You've lost the plot a little bit.
But was Peter walking on the water not kind of a magic trick?
You're saying cut out the backup plan is what you're saying.
Exactly.
So you're more locked in.
Yeah, so I have to have the faith. If I don't have the faith.
Yeah. Right.
Because if you have a backup plan, it's not faith anymore.
Yeah, this is what I do
This is what growing up in a church does to you.
And I love prayer for this reason, because you're like, what I always think is you're right about this though. We've all seen the people that you throw out the prayer and then you're like, you button it with hey, if that's your will, God, if that's your will, if it's not your will, that's fine. And it's we're either asking for stuff or we're not. You gotta come out and say, because there's stories in the Bible you get where they're there's prayers that it would rain, prayers that it wouldn't rain. They're very definitive. They're very pointed. They're very you do it and you do the thing. And then you see the but then you go I'll pray for that, but maybe I don't. Maybe I shouldn't pray for that. I don't know. And then you back up by the end.
I know. No, I mean, and I have a different take on it and whatever. Now, thankfully, I've evolved and grown instead of thinking oh yeah, it's like a menu.
So you do walk on water now. You're saying
I can't if I wanted to. I could. I do have a little bit more of a stoic mentality now that says, well, if I didn't walk on water, then that's okay.
I think in my head, water molecules are all around us all the time. I'm basically walking on water.
Basically drowning in water as we speak. You're a fish. You're breathing it. That's what you don't understand.
Thanks for coming to the podcast today.
You're welcome.
Hopefully everybody learned a lot.
Oh, them. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody.
Thank you all too.
You're here. They're here. Everybody's here. Give yourself a round of applause for those prayer stories. 10 out of 10. 11 out of 11.
Not a dud in the bunch. I'm curious what you had to cut. But
you have to cut some.
We're gonna have to do a potpourri someday, and here's some rando stories
with the ones that didn't get in the other one. That's a good idea. Follow at The Bible is Funny. That's where we're gonna share our prompt for our next The Church is Funny segment. The Healing Collective. Get your information on that in the show notes.
You can recover there from all the crazy stuff we just tormented you with. Just now. If that brought up some thoughts and feelings from your childhood, go to the Healing
directly
Collective.
To go. Yeah. Also put in the show notes where you can get Bible is Funny card games and hats and all kinds of fun stuff. So check that out. Any last words for the people before we sign off?
I miss you already.
We miss you already, but we'll talk to you real soon, next week. Okay? And we'll see you then. All right. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.